Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Wednesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and don't mean to sound like, Cody Rhodes from WWE here, but what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, can't really talk about anything about the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. They are in the dead period of the NHL offseason. We can talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit. As a matter of fact, we will do that here in a little bit on a very slow news day for the Steelers before their joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow. I will be giving out my 2025 training camp awards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then there's one other team that we talk about here on the channel. They're slipping my mind right now. They're really hard to pay attention to. They're kind of annoying. When you turn them on the TV, it's almost like you're just in the middle of hell on a hot ass summer day. Does anybody know what that team is? Oh yeah, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. We are going to start off talking about them here in a matter of moments. They are on a historic run of horridness right now, and the best way that we can get through this torture is to talk through it and also laugh about it a little bit. Hopefully one day, maybe, God willing, sometime during my lifetime, we will look back on these days as Pirates fans and say, hey, it was really tough to get through those absolutely catastrophic periods of time as Pirates fans, but you know what? It was worth getting to the, pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow here. But who knows? I doubt I'm ever going to see the Pirates win in my lifetime. So we are going to start talking about them here in a matter of moments. First thing is first, if you are new here to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. We are trying to get to 500 subscribers here on the channel. Also, I would appreciate it if you would like this live stream as well as share it and leave a comment in the comment section. Any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have. Anything on your mind, anything you want to say, could be about literally anything on slow news days like today. We could chit-chat about that and interact that way. Also, would appreciate it if you went out and gave me a follow on the following social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and X at Steel City SR, same username as here on YouTube. And be sure to tune back in later tonight for SCSR 60. I don't want to do it. I do not want to do it, but thank God, football and not too far down the line hockey we'll, have something else to talk about here in a couple months' time other than the Pittsburgh Pirates. They, like I mentioned, on a fantastically bad run right now as an organization, as a franchise. This year has had so many lows, it's not even funny. And these past couple weeks since the all-star break and the trade deadline, they are just par for the course on this season. The Pittsburgh Pirates this afternoon, as a matter of fact, probably about 15-20 minutes ago, just wrapped up a 3-game series with their division rival, Milwaukee Brewers. And, went about as well as you would have expected for the Pirates. The Brewers riding high, 30-plus games above 500. Meanwhile, the Pirates probably will finish the season at this pace, 30 games below 500. Talking about what happened last night, we thought maybe there was a glimmer of hope, a very slim chance that the Pirates could salvage at least one game from this series just to, not lose the entirety of their dignity. But turns out not even a god among men can even make miracles happen for this ball club. Paul Skeens on the bump last night. Milwaukee Brewers, they are his boogeyman, just like how, his rookie season, it was the St. Louis Cardinals a bit. Skeens last night in Milwaukee, going just 4 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, on 6 hits, only struck out 4, walked 2. You can just tell from the beginning of the game that he did not have his best stuff, and that it was going to be a rough outing, by his standards. Believe Sal Frelick, who the hell is, Sal Frelick. I obviously know who Sal Frelick is for the Brewers. The Bucks play in them all the time, but the Brewers, they have just guys that you couldn't tell me if they were baseball players or just regular Joe Schmoes that they brought up on the street. But yeah, Sal Frelick made it 1-0 on the first at bat of the ball game, and everything just went downhill from there. Skeens in Milwaukee this year has had 2 starts now. He's gone 8 innings, gave up 8 runs, and has a 9 ERA. After that, they just brought in whoever to pitch. Honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. I will say, seeing Yohan Ramirez, who was on this Buccos team at the beginning of this never-ending rebuild, pitching, still on this team, it's completely insane. No other way to put it. If you think, Paul Skeens getting hit around was the worst part about last night, you're dead wrong. It's like you keep saying things can't possibly get worse, can they? And then the injury bug, which I will say has been okay, to the Bucks this year. They haven't had too many critical guys like McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz go down long-term with injury. Well, the injury bug finally caught up to the Pirates and bit last night. Jack Sawinski, O'Neal Cruz, both men dive for a ball in the left center field gap. Cruz, I think, might have, finished the inning, but then left the game right after that. I know it was an accident here, but it's kind of ironic. Jack Sawinski, who was once a great player on this team, keeps hurting the teams in many ways other than one. Cruz today placed on the 7-day injured list with a concussion. Hopefully, something. It's just a protocol thing, and he'll be back. And yeah, even that his low points of the year, which he's certainly in one right now. He's still one of your most dynamic players out there. But if he, on the bright side, if he is going to miss a couple of weeks, better for him to sit out in a who the hell cares rest of the season, instead of if the Pirates were by some miracle, in a playoff hunt right now. So I'm cool with that. Also, last night, things going wrong for the Bucks on the field. Also, not getting any luck their way as well. Whoever the home plate umpire was last night made a handful of bad calls down and outside the zone for the Bucks. Literally looking at the spray charts, if you were to go look them up on MLB.com, all the pitches in this particular side of Donnie Kelly we haven't seen in quite a little bit. It's been a while since Don got thrown out of a ball game. I was trying to think, when was the last time we saw Donnie Kelly get ejected? I don't want to go all the way back to that San Diego series about a month ago, but we finally did get to see Don Kelly show a little bit of fire. And also, there's a still shot out there. I love it. Kelly literally showing up the umpire, showing the line of where the pitches were crossing, the batter's box. So, love Donnie Kelly. What's going on this year for the Pirates, clearly not his fault. And then to top everything off last night, we saw a double position player duel. Bottom of the 8th, Jared Triolo comes in for the Bucks, gives up a couple of hits, one of which was a home run, and then a position pitcher with the Brewers up 14-0 went in the pitch. Nick Gonzalez got on base, and then 3 straight fly balls. A literal position player is running through this Pittsburgh Pirates lineup, and they could not get a single run off of a utility guy for the Brewers. Typical. 14-0 was the score last night. Coming into today, Ronnie Simon. What the hell is a Ronnie Simon? Some guy that they claimed off of waivers from the Marlins. That's really a team that you want to claim players off of. Was leading off today. He got called up in place of O'Neal Cruz. Again, Brewers took a 1-0 lead. Part of that was a gaffe by Jack Sawinski in the outfield. dropping a ball. The only positive thing today, Brian Reynolds seemingly, having a good time, I guess. 2 home runs today. That cut the lead down to 6-5 at one point, but then the Brewers pulled away once again. Final score today was 12-5. Mitch Keller nabbed with a loss. Seems to be going down the path that we all have seen him go down in the past couple of years, which, post All-Star game break, Mitch falls off a cliff. That was very predictable, and yeah, do not want to, talk about it any more, really. We are going to, spend tomorrow talking about this Steelers joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At least that will be a Bucs team that is worth watching and actually wants to win in the city of Pittsburgh for once. And yeah, I will say, though, about the Milwaukee Brewers in this series, I'm very jealous of them. I think we all are. Everything that the Pirates touch turns to crap, and everything that the Brewers touch turns to gold. They're now 24-4 since acquiring Andrew Vaughn, first baseman for the White Sox, who was like in the twilight zone of his career. He comes to Milwaukee and is like freaking David Ortiz, whatever, Willie Stargell, whatever, legendary first baseman you want to put out there. And the Brewers now, I think are now like 31 games above 500, something like that. Pretty crazy. Things are all good there in Brewerland. So good, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's just, I can't believe how they are doing this. Yeah, Pirates for the 11th time this season. Rock bottom. Ben Cherington again should be fired. Him and Bob Nutting, they are a duo of disaster. Take any like WWE tag team of all time and put them up against these two, and these two will, if it's a challenge about who can flush an entire historic MLB franchise down the toilet, they would be champions forever. And yeah, don't really know what else to talk about it, so we're going to move on here. I'm sick and tired of this team. I'm mentally checked out of Pirates baseball, and yeah, should be fun. They got a weekend series coming up against the Chicago Cubs. Who the hell cares? All we got to do is try to band together, maybe laugh about it a little bit, and get through the final month-plus stretch of this season, when then it will finally, mercifully, be put out the pasture. 5 of you in here right now. Welcome to the stream tonight. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 500 subscribers here on YouTube. Also, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Leave a like, share this video, and comment in the live chat any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have. Did say today that to begin the live stream today that it is going to be a bit of a shorter one. Not too much news going on today besides the Pirates playing. Nothing for the Penguins. Pittsburgh Steelers, they are off today ahead of their joint practice tomorrow with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where I'm sure we will have a ton to talk about then. However, just because the Steelers are off, I did want to do something today. I figured, little to talk about. Let's at least have a little bit of fun, which is why now I want to bring up my 2025 Steelers St. Vincent College Training Camp Awards. I looked up, the NFL, honors and awards that they give away at the end of the season. I figured, why not do a couple of those for Steelers and how they did this year in training camp, and also, a couple that I made myself. So we got training camp MVP, training camp LVP for least valuable player, offensive and defensive players of training camp, offensive rookie and defensive rookie of training camp. Also did two new awards here, most surprising player and most underwhelming player. I did a hardest working player award, and also just a fun one here, reporter of training camp. So beginning this one from the bottom here, working its way up, reporter of training camp. Congratulations, Nick Farabaugh. I believe he does some work for Pittsburgh or Steelers now. Really, he's one of many reporters that I follow here on Twitter and get information of what goes on at training camp from there. Does a fantastic job. Covered in detail all the 7-shots drills. Was really paying attention to where players were out there on the field, looking, all right, who's off to the side today, who's lined up here, who's in street clothes, who's in pads looking like they're participating. So he did a fantastic job. I want to give kudos there. Going again here, back from the bottom, working our way up. Hardest working player of training camp. And really, there are a ton of guys. I'm sure no one, slacks off. Most people don't slack off here in training camp. But this guy, I think this is just the way he was born and raised. And we saw him do similar things to this last year. But I want to, mention him this year. Hardest worker on the team. I'm going to go with linebacker Peyton Wilson. Constantly, you heard he was one of the first ones down there on the field, one of the last ones to go up. If I had to make a defensive and offensive hardest worker at training camp this year, I'd probably put Roman Wilson for the offensive guy, but Peyton Wilson, getting down there first, a good 45 minutes before practice even starts. Also did not take a single day off. I know he's a second-year guy. Not sure if he earned the, veteran off day, privileges yet, but out there, down there first on the field, took part in every single aspect of training camp practice. Also had a nice showing in a short sample size in the preseason game. So hardest worker, Peyton Wilson. Looking forward to a big year from him. He is now going to be the inside linebacker lining up right next to Patrick Queen. Hopefully what he did in training camp this year translates over to the regular season. On to most surprising and most underwhelming players. Most surprising, I tried to think, outside the box here a little bit and sort of, guys, some of the criteria for this award was, all right, who's a guy that's like teetering on, making the team or, getting cut from the team. One guy who I think did, once again solidify his spot on this roster. And I'll be honest, throughout the season, and I'll probably do it again this year at some point, I always count this guy out and say, like, literally, what does he bring to this team besides this one thing? James Pierre, corner, been on the Steelers for quite a while, made, a training camp appearance or two with another team in his career, but I'll give him credit. He's one of those guys that when the Steelers secondary gets banged up, he goes in there in the regular season and gets targeted and picked on a lot. Also last year on special teams, had that one dropped, fake punt where it was thrown perfectly to him in his breadbasket and he let it slip through. Would have been an easy first down and a turning point in that game. However, this year, James Pierre, couple of interceptions. I think he went like a 2-day span at some point last week where he had 3 interceptions in 2 days and also wrapped up the last practice of training camp yesterday with another INT. You couple that, I believe he's going up against 2s and 3s, but hey, getting your hands on the ball as a secondary member counts for something. Couple all that with him, we know he can still contribute on special teams, and he'll probably be a gunner, or at least a reserve gunner for the 53-man roster. I'm going to give him the title of most surprising player. I've been really pleased in what I've seen and heard from him in this training camp. Most underwhelming player, though, and I hate putting this guy here. I'm taking at what he did in training camp as an anomaly and literally nothing else. Has nothing to do with the blocking aspect of his job, but one thing that Mike Tomlin really, really harps on, the center quarterback exchange. And this guy, from what I've heard, he, at least in the first half of training camp, really had a couple of snapping issues. Zach Frazier. I still believe this upcoming year, already right now as he sits, a top 3 center in the NFL, could be number 1 or number 2 by the end of the season. He is just that damn good, even in his second year. But I understand getting under, getting synced up with Aaron Rodgers. Snap issues, something that we did not really see from him last year, except with Justin Fields in there, which I'm sure Fields took a bit of the blame there as well. And also in college, I mean, when Zach Frazier was coming out of college, I didn't really think that, he was a guy that was known for erratic snaps often. This training camp, though, seems like he had one every other day, 1 or 2 every other day. Hopefully he can clean it up. I believe he will. We'll see if he plays in these next 2 preseason games. I would think he at least, makes an appearance in one. But again, putting underwhelming player, putting him as that for right now, but very much still expect him to be great for the upcoming season. Up to now, offensive rookie of training camp and defensive rookie of training camp. For my offensive rookie of training camp at St. Vincent College 2025, I have 2 names here. All right. One guy here, I'm still going to count him as a rookie. Another here, legitimately, I think is a rookie, or is at least can't body a first-time training camp participant with the Steelers. The first one that I had here, Troy Fautanu, starting right tackle. Reason why I'm mentioning him as a rookie, we all remember last year didn't really play all that much in week 1 of the season. Week 2 came in there against the Denver Broncos. Broderick Jones was having penalty issues at right tackle. Fautanu subs in the rest of the game. After that, boom, out for the rest of the season. So I'm still counting him as a rookie. I still count Roman Wilson the same as a rookie. If you don't play more than, one game, 2 games, I'm still going to pretty much, give you the designation of rookie. And why I put Fautanu here for this training camp, really preseason game, really stupendous there. Went up against another first-round pick and a first overall pick. You can, critique him all you want for how his NFL career up to this point has gone. But still, though, first overall talent, Trayvon Walker with the Jaguars. Fautanu did have one, penalty, face, hands to the face. But looking at the tape, was outstanding. Very deceptive as a blocker. Really manipulates what the pass rusher is going to do, and he gets control immediately. So Fautanu, for what he did in the preseason game, and also going to the training camp practice one-on-ones, him and TJ Watt, arguably best defensive player in the NFL. Those 2 guys going up against one-on-ones. Sure, Watt, of course, got his, but Fautanu really stood his ground against TJ. And I don't take that as necessarily TJ slowing down and losing his touch quite yet. I take that as Fautanu just being that damn good. When you go at least 50-50 with a former defensive player of the year and a dude who just got paid $40 million plus this offseason, I'm going to, keep my eye on that. I would not be surprised whatsoever if Fautanu ends up making the Pro Bowl this year, assuming that he, stays healthy. If you do not count Troy Fautanu as a rookie, which, hey, I understand, I, hold no grudges against that. My second offensive rookie of the year, who I think legitimately is a rookie, if not, he's at least a first-time Steelers training camp, guy, Max Hurlman, running back, fullback, wide receiver, wears a lot of hats there on the offensive side of the ball. Got into the end zone a couple of times. He got into the end zone once in the preseason game against Jacksonville. And also to wrap up training camp here over the past last 2 practices or so, I believe he might have gotten some reps with the ones and, made a couple of nice touchdown catches there. I think that's a guy who's maybe underrated pick to make the 53 man when this thing is all said and done. Maybe he'll make the 53 man be, that's kind of crazy, maybe be, sort of Swiss Army knife in the offense. A fourth running back could, produce on special teams, might be a, kick returner. But if not, I hope no team out there picks him up. He will be a stud practice squad member for this team and a easy, hey, Kenny G or Jalen or Caleb, one of those guys is nicked up this week. Elevate Max Hurlman, get him in there. As for my defensive rookie of training camp, really, you could have gone any couple of ways here. Jack Sawyer had a strong training camp, when he rotated in there at outside linebacker. Also had a solid couple of reps in the preseason game. Derek Harmon, first-round pick. Cam Hayward Jr. Has looked like a beast, even with limited sample size in that preseason game. However, easy one for me, defensive rookie of training camp. I'm going Y.A. Black, and it is a no-brainer. When we didn't even break camp yesterday, you're hearing people, like both national media members and local, calling Y.A. Black the steal of the draft for the Steelers. You got to put him as the defensive rookie of training camp. I'll tell you what, because, I knew he was big, and I knew he was going to be a run stuffer, and Iowa defensive linemen, they take pride up there, playing defense at Iowa, pretty much the old Matt Canada day Pittsburgh Steelers in college form. However, Black, we're seeing more of a versatile skill set than I expected from him coming out of the draft. Couple his massive size, over 340 pounds, like 6'6", constantly. It felt like every practice you're hearing, Y.A. Black tipping that pass at the line of scrimmage. Y.A. Black knocks that one down. Y.A. Black gets a finger on it and it's picked off. Really, he's going to block a pass when he gets in there, maybe a couple of times in the regular season. Also, I think you might see him block a extra point kick or a field goal or so. You just put that big hoss in the center of that, line for the field goal attempt. He can just get a little bit of vertical to him. He might be just a brick wall right there. And also, think position versatility is a good thing for YA. He can play both interior and outside edge. I think they still have him at his natural position, outside edge on the D line, but you can just, against the run, Derrick Henry, put YA in there, tell him just, there's a freight train, there's a Mack truck coming at you. I need you to be a freight train and win that battle. Also, pass rushing skills, different moves to get to the quarterback. I think he's improved on those as well from his college days. So Carl Dunbar and the Steelers, they have gotten their hands on Y.A. Black. They are refining him into an absolute monster out there on the defensive line. It's shown on the tape at training camp. It showed in the preseason game, and I expect it to continue moving forward from now. So those are my offensive and defensive rookies of training camp. Now on to the offensive and defensive players of training camp. 3 more awards here: OPOTC, DPOTC, and 4 more: training camp least valuable player and training camp MVP. For defensive player of training camp, going to switch things up here. This one, kind of like most surprising player and even like hardest worker. This one could have gone a handful of ways here. Juan Thornhill, for fans and them having low expectations for him coming from Cleveland, and now he's going to be a starter at safety on this on this defense. Not many people expected him to get 3-4 interceptions in this training camp, so I'll give him credit there. Trying to think of a couple other ones here. maybe I could have put a rookie there, Black, Harmon, Joey Porter Jr. had a damn strong training camp at outside corner. Didn't get any picks, but a couple of nice PBUs against DK Metcalf, also a more willing tackler. So it was very, very hard to pick a defensive player of training camp this year. I've probably could have gone Porter. He would have been at the top of my list there, but this guy here, I'm expecting big things from him this year. Second year in this defense, has already, said this defense, it's more communicative than it was last year, and I think he's a big reason, a part of it. Patrick Queen, he's going to be the green dot guy, whether it's him or Peyton Wilson in this defense. I think Queen will be the guy first and foremost. Think he's still, pretty stout against the run, but picking off Aaron Rodgers, I think 2 or 3 times in this training camp, that earned him defensive player of training camp accolades there. Really excited about him. Again, expecting big things from him coming up in year 2 of this team. And I think he made the Pro Bowl last year. I think this year he will legitimately make it, and not just as some sort of fill-in or reserve. Another reason why Patrick Queen was my defensive player of training camp, I just mentioned it. It's because he picked off two or three times my offensive player of training camp. Aaron Rodgers, my guy, OPOTC for this training camp. Really, showing and putting to bed some narratives that we thought about him coming into this training camp. Is he going to be a good teammate? Yes. Stories coming out of Latrobe this year of his dorm room constantly being open, touching base with all of his receivers throughout the day, not just in practice. Is he going to be committed and bought into the full, training camp experience? Yes. Said he loved Latrobe. Was out there for pretty much every single drill of practice, other than days which he took off, and didn't see him in the preseason game. But I think going up against an elite defense is one thing, but throughout training camp, started off, slow, picked it up near the end, developed nice chemistry with DK Metcalf, and Roman Wilson speaks highly of his pass catchers. Going to expect him, with a little bit of help from that offensive line, to indeed have that sort of Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type, end of the career, where they, for 1 year, have one of their best years of their career and take the team deep in playoffs. That's, health depending here. Again, the offensive line, I'm still a little, scuzzy about them. They had a good showing in the preseason game, but if they can keep Aaron Rodgers upright, I think between his intellect and the arm still being there, that's been very, very evident in this training camp. Could be seeing a very nice year coming from AR8. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the final 2 awards are here. Gonna start here with TC LVP, training camp least valuable player. Gonna be honest, this award, kind of like with the most underwhelming player, I was just gonna keep the awards, strictly positive here, but training camp LVP, in light of a certain situation, really, this one was easy and it had to be mentioned there. Training camp least valuable player is Cam Hayward. I understand Cam, even with this hold-in that he's having, is still out there, even sometimes in, street clothes, sometimes in, shells and pants. And I know he's still in the ear of some rookies and his fellow defensive linemen. But really, it's nothing, physical for him. It's, why the hell are we doing this, contract situation right now? I mean, seriously, We almost made it through the entirety of this training camp without any drama. And now over a couple of $1 million when you've already made over $100 million in your career and you already collected, your paycheck for this year, $13 million roster bonus. Now we are going to sit out and pout and threaten to sit out regular season games just so you can get, a couple of, 3, 4, maybe even $5 extra $1 million on this year. I understand that this will probably be your, last kick at the can here with the whole, you're 36, don't know how much more football Cam has left in him, but I mean, this is an all-in year, and the actions of Cam over the past, over the past week or so, it's really been off-putting and really puts a damper on all 53 guys, plus practice squad guys, plus coaches, all on the same side, pushing this boulder up the hill with, camaraderie. I don't understand it. I can also put in LVP here. Chris Boswell, kicker. Honestly, Boswell, probably, if I were running the Steelers, I would, give him what he wants first and foremost before Cam. Boz, even though he's sitting out this training camp or doing a hold-in, I guess, as well, do you really need to see what you have from Boz? Same thing with Hayward. I mean, he's the best kicker in football. If you get him to the regular season and he's still, bitching up a storm, then we'll address that situation when we get there. But unlike Cam, who signed an extension last offseason, Boz kind of underpaid for what he does. Eighth highest paid kicker in the NFL. Doesn't take too much of a raise to get him to, top 3 of highest paid kickers in the NFL. And he's on the last year of his contract. So Boz could be LVP territory here for training camp, but I think Cam is in his situation, which everyone from fans to the team, I'm sure, Omar, at least, to media personalities, both local and national, pretty much everyone except for Hayward and his representation are like, what the hell are you doing here? We're really going to make a whole big stink out of this. So that was my training camp LVP. Wrapping up the 2025 Steelers training camp awards here. Training camp MVP. We've had a ton of good players here mentioned already. Y.A. Black as a rookie had a hell of a showing. Patrick Queen, Joey Porter Jr., kind of co-defensive players of training camp in my eyes now the more that I think about it. Aaron Rodgers started out a bit slow, but really picked it up. But this guy here, I think aside from, Aaron Rodgers, which, of course everyone's going to say, quarterback, the most important position in sports, at least at quarterback for the Steelers, we saw a damn good showing from Mason Rudolph. So if Rodgers, unless he goes back to his, 4-time MVP self, Mason Rudolph isn't going to be too much of a downgrade here at quarterback. One guy, though, who I believe on either side of the ball, this training camp MVP is a defensive player. This guy, I think, has a chance to reclaim some old glories for himself that he's lost in recent years. And even though there are, very capable guys behind him, he might be the most irreplaceable player on this defense, even ahead of TJ Watt at this point. And I know he didn't practice for about a week or so in training camp due to a little bit of a nagging, injury. But when he was out there on the field at training camp, he was absolutely insane and wreaked havoc left and right. My 2025 training camp MVP for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Jalen Ramsey, a guy who we all know what he can do, but were those days of him being, a guy who tails the number one wide receiver of the team, were those days past him? Looking at what he's done in training camp, and I will put my safeguard on this take because it is training camp after all. He still, the way he went against DK Metcalf in training camp, especially on the last day of practice, he is still that guy, even at 31 years old, that can go mano-a-mano with a team's top receiver, and you don't have to worry about too much when Jalen Ramsey's over there. He has been outstanding in training camp when he's out there. Add on to still what I think he has in him, that mano-a-mano Ramsey Island. I'm going to, hold a team's number one to maybe one reception for 12 yards. The versatility is another thing. He himself has said it. I think other coaches have said it, and beat writers have said it. Ramsey, he's going to be everywhere. You are going to see a very unpredictable secondary. He'll be in the slot one play, outside another, safety another. He might blitz from time to time. I get you can move TJ Watt around, the line as well. But really, aside from left outside linebacker and right outside linebacker, are we really going to expect that much movement from TJ? I do think you will see some, but Ramsey, he can be anywhere at any time. He's going to be a ghost out there. You're going to see him 1 second and be like, oh, hell, where the hell did 5 go? Like, I'm ecstatic that he's here. I know it came at a pretty hefty price, giving up Minkah Fitzpatrick. I did think Minkah was slowing down a little bit, but still, though, you would like to have him back there at times, I'm sure. But bringing in Ramsey here, a home run hit by general manager Omar Khan, and through a month of training camp, aside from, a week where he didn't practice with an injury, he will be a pivotal and probably the key to this Steelers defense being as great as everyone, coaches and players, are saying it will be. Mike Tomlin saying that this could be a historic defense. Juan Thornhill saying that this could be the greatest defense of all time, and he said that with seriousness in his voice. I think a large reason that they feel that way is because number 5 will be back there roaming the secondary, playing any position at any given time. So I'm excited to see what Jalen Ramsey does when regular season begins. I'm hoping that we get to see him here coming up on Saturday in the preseason game. And well, I think, even though you got Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. there, Slay even older than Ramsey, Porter, good training camp, but still, is he going to get over the handsiness in the regular season? Ramsey, he is one guy who I think, aside from Cam Hayward and maybe TJ Watt, maybe TJ Watt and maybe Cam Hayward, I'm going to put both of those as question marks anymore. Jalen Ramsey, I don't think you have to worry about him and how he's going to produce this year. So Jalen Ramsey, my training camp MVP for the Pittsburgh Steelers 2025. Just going over the list. And I will post this to Twitter probably after stream here this evening. Training camp MVP, Jalen Ramsey. Training camp least valuable player, Cam Hayward. Offensive player of training camp, Aaron Rodgers. Defensive player of training camp, Patrick Queen. You know what? I'm going to do it. I will put a duo here in Queen and Joey Porter Jr. It's just really tight between those two. Offensive rookie of training camp, Troy Fautanu. If not, Max Hurlman. Defensive rookie of training camp, Y.A. Black. Most surprising player, James Pierre. Most underwhelming player, Zach Frazier. Hardest worker, Peyton Wilson. and reporter of training camp Nick Farabaugh the 2025 Steelers training camp awards. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue on too much further here, going to real quick take a stroll here through Twitter, see if we have anything new going on before we get back into the news segment of today's program. Wow. Seeing something here. Don't mean to go back into the well of depression here that is the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I'm seeing someone post here the team leaders in OPS. Among qualified hitters, your on-base plus slugging percentage leader for the Pittsburgh Pirates this year, at this point, August 13th, 2025, the leader in OPS, Brian Reynolds, at 709. We do not, the Pirates, have a single hitter above 750, let alone, sniffing 800, which if you have an 800 OPS, then you're, decent ball player. Wow. Below him, McCutchen at 707, O'Neal Cruz at 702. So I think if we were to, blind rank who the best hitters are on the Pirates, Reynolds, Cruz, and McCutchen would be, at the top of our lists here. Below those guys, not even close to a 700 OPS, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at 640. This team is, yeah. Apparently someone, I wonder where this is or how I can do it. A misery rating from ESPN. Someone here put in Pirates, Steelers, Penguins, and I guess you had to select an NBA team. They put the Philadelphia 76ers, the misery score in 87, which is woeful. Things are looking pretty grim. I'd offer to buy you a cold beverage, but I'm just a robot in your computer. I'd probably be the same way, even though instead of the Philadelphia 76ers, because F everything Philadelphia, for an NBA team, I'm trying to think here. Just because I vacation there a lot and I, like how they do business, I probably put the Orlando Magic or maybe the Pacers, Indy Pacers. I like the cut of their jib from this past season. All right, moving on here, ladies and gentlemen. Back into some Steelers talk here for a moment. We just did Steelers training camp awards. Now, let's get back into a key talking point for the Steelers. That is not, the Cam Hayward or Chris Boswell situations. It's not, how's the depth or the rookies looking at certain positions. Instead, let's talk about them adding a wide receiver. Now, we've talked a bunch here about wide receivers. Could they go out and trade for Terry McLaurin? Highly unlikely, but that would be the biggest splash move that they can make. Is there another person available out there, for a trade that wouldn't cost as much as McLaurin? Like, I don't know, one of the many wide receivers up there in Green Bay, Alan Lazard, an Aaron Rodgers guy with the Jets. Is there still any, lingering free agents out there like Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper? Allen got scooped up. But maybe the Steelers, they could go get a free agent wide receiver. And I'm not talking about Amari Cooper here. This really came out of the blue within the past 24 hours. Could the Pittsburgh Steelers, or more importantly, should the Pittsburgh Steelers consider adding Odell Beckham Jr.? This really has, sparked up in the last day or so. And never, if you were to tell me list like 10 to 15 wide receivers that the Steelers should go after or could go after, OBJ wouldn't have even been a passing thought in my mind, because when did he last play football? 2023 with the Ravens? Did he sit out all of last year, or maybe he was with the Dolphins? I don't know. But OBJ, probably more washed than Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. And I'm saying this because I doubt he'll become a Steeler, but I will really need to maybe talk my words back a little bit if he does sign here. But kind of crazy that this really sparked up. There was a whole thing within the past, I believe this was yesterday, where it was said Beckham Jr. retired. And he went out on Twitter, and people keep on commenting, jokes, okay, congratulations on the career. And he said, no, seriously, I'm not retired. Stop texting me and commenting before you piss me off here. But it's kind of crazy. Tom Pelissero, NFL insider, saying that Beckham Jr., OBJ, has drawn interest from several teams and plans to play somewhere in 2025. And the reason why the Steelers are probably leading the pack here, I mean, sure, they're one of the many teams out there, or not many teams, but they're probably in the top three of teams who need wide receiver help, just in terms of name power. But also Beckham on the Bill Maher Club Random podcast last month said that he and Rodgers, they have had conversations this offseason about playing together. And I think I saw something else that they've even talked in the past. Rodgers about possibly getting OBJ to come up to Green Bay, then getting OBJ to go to New York with him. Could third time be the charm? I don't know. Part of me says I don't hope so. I mean, OBJ, brand name, very popular wide receiver out in the world, kind of was the creator of making the one-handed catch look cool. But aside from that one-handed catch from Beckham Jr., has he really had any other, super flashy or super great moment in his career? I mean, honestly, I could pull up his football reference page here, but I mean, it just feels like he made the one-handed catch in his career, and that was pretty much it. Then he bounced around to the Ravens, to the Dolphins. Who else did he play for here? The Rams. I forgot he won a Super Bowl out there in LA. Unfortunately, blew out his ACL in the Super Bowl there. Also the Browns, which, hey, when he left New York and was going to the Browns, it was like, oh, hell, look out, Baker Mayfield and OBJ, what a connection they are going to be. And then that didn't result in anything. So Beckham in his career here, by the way, again, 32 years old. That's pretty old for, wide receiver terms. Last year, played 9 games, had 9 receptions for 55 yards. I'm assuming that was with the Dolphins. Yeah, it was. Looking here. He's had 5 over 1,000 yard seasons. All 5 of those with the Jets or with the Giants. Had one, actually, except for one, had one barely over 1,000 yard season with the Browns. But after his last 1,000 yard season in 2019, Beckham, 2020, 319 yards. 2021, 537. Or actually here, hang on. That was with 2 teams. Yeah, 537 in 2021. 2022, didn't play. 23, 565. And then last year, 55. Like, if we're going to get, wide receiver 2 or someone who can at least play that until something else comes available, I'd rather see what falls off of the scrap pile when teams trim their rosters here in a couple weeks, and then give Amari Cooper a call first and foremost here. I know I'm probably, speaking out of both sides of my mouth here when I call OBJ a, washed up guy who hasn't had 1,000-yard season in forever. But hell, at least Amari Cooper, isn't, that bad. So I don't know. I'm really perplexed about this. I don't want the Steelers to become the Baltimore Ravens here. The Ravens, we joke about them. They are the retirement home for NFL wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson, OBJ. Who was it that they had last year? They have Julio Jones at one point? Or I'm maybe thinking of the Tennessee Titans. They're another retirement home wide receiver team. Now they have DeAndre Hopkins on the last leg of his career. Just, I don't know. It might excite you as a Steeler fan, just in terms of, name brand recognition there with OBJ, but are we really gonna be all that excited and say, hey, the wide receiver 2 problem has been fixed? With that, I don't know. Only way that I would be excited and think that could work out is if you were to have Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson play like, play up to, a very, very low level wide receiver 2, and then maybe once or twice a game, you have OBJ go out there fresh off the bench and be like the OBJ of old. But I don't know if he has that in him anymore. So just thought that was crazy. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think many people are going to put too much stock into him and Aaron Rodgers discussing probably linking up. Positive that I could see from it is that he'd be kind of cheap. And then maybe you can, get the whole Cam Hayward situation over maybe. But yeah, I'm going to be quite honest. If it was a guy from, 5 years ago, hell yeah, I'd be excited. But if it's a guy, OBJ of 2025, would not be excited. And I know a ton of people make that jokes about the Steelers in general. Slay, Ramsey, Rodgers. If this team was put together 5 years ago, they'd be top of the betting odds Super Bowl contender. But I think OBJ is the epitome of that, of going too far here. So we'll see. I will say highly unlikely to happen, but with the way this offseason has gone and now we're heading into the regular season, never say never with Omar Khan. Also, it does feel like it's kind of about time where you see something happen and you're like, yep, that right there is an Aaron Rodgers move. Only way that happens. So we'll see. To the comments section real quick. THP, welcome back, THP. Just came in here, OBJ. That's a wild reach. Well, people are talking about it, so we got to talk about it here. OBJ will be 33 in November, 9 catches for 55 yards in 9 games. 0 games started. Exactly. And down there in Miami, too, which is supposed to be an extreme pass-happy offense. I know you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but I don't even know what their wide receiver situation was last year. It's really concerning if OBJ couldn't, be the third wide receiver on the field and beat out Braxton Berrios, Cedric Wilson, something like that. So, yeah, no thanks, dog. Super Bowl with the Rams had a great first half. Yeah, he did. I remember that Super Bowl. And, you kind of remember that vividly over some of the more recent ones just because it was the Bengals and we were all hate watching. But, yeah, he was on a tear there. And then pop goes the ACL and missed the entire following season. So, yeah, 2019 is a long time ago, THP. Cooper only 31. Yeah. And a thing where, I guess you can squint and, say the same thing about Amari Cooper. Why are we bringing in a dude who is, kind of washed, got, maybe this will be his last year in the NFL? Cooper had more recent success, like you just say there, THP. Over 1,200 yards in 2023. Also, last year I understood that he went through injury, especially in Buffalo. But before that, was on pace to have another good year, and think he's a more crisp route runner than OBJ, which I think the Steelers need that more than anything. They got, in my opinion, either big guys, contested catch guys who can go up and get the ball, like DK, I think they say that I don't know if this guy's going to make the team or not. Brandon Johnson is another wide receiver like that. Your tight ends, they're all decently sized. They're good contested catch guys. You got those, big throw it up and go get it guys. And then also you have your, little underneath, get the ball in their hands quickly and see if they can make a couple move guys in Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. What the Steelers are lacking is that middle ground there where you get a crisp route runner guy who is going to, get more separation and not. And I think Amari Cooper is that guy. And the Steelers, ever since Deontay Johnson left, which, not criticizing them moving on from DJ, he's been horrendous. They have not had a guy like that who is an elite route runner since DJ. Not even George Pickens, who was here for 2 years, could do that. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. I do think, again, Steelers will add a wide receiver. I think Mark Cavoli, Steelers correspondent for the Pat McAfee show, said that he does expect the Steelers to add to the wide receiver room within the next 10 to 12 days, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah, crazy that OPJ in the year of our Lord and Savior is being mentioned as a wide receiver option for the Steelers. If you were to tell me, if I were to go back in a time machine, 5 years ago, and tell my future self, hey, tell you what, in 2025, OBJ could possibly be a Steeler. Also, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and you have Jalen Ramsey leading the secondary. I'd be excited. Still excited about Rodgers and Ramsey, but OBJ, it's a hard no for me, fam. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, going to one last time take a quick stroll here through Twitter. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already, and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live. Again, also leave a like, comment on this live stream, just like THP, and share this live stream as well. Going to get into the more Pittsburgh news story part of the program here. Going to wrap things up real quickly. Not too much to talk about. Real quick, back to the comments section. THP, DK can stretch the field, but yes, an intermediate route runner will be good for Pittsburgh. Who's at tight end? Darnell, Washington, Fryermuth, Jonnu Smith. I think Jonnu Smith, he's probably DK. I think he is getting better at running routes, but Jonnu Smith as your tight end, he's an all right route runner. He gets open, I think, quite a bit as a tight end. Fryermuth, he's more like Roman Wilson or Calvin Austin, intermediate-ish route runner, but not too often you see him deep down the field. And then Darnell Washington's just a big body, block first tight end, and throw it up to him in the end zone. Hopefully they do that a lot in the red zone, going with a 6'7", nearly 300-pound tight end over a, buck 85 soaking wet 5'10" corner. I'm going to take that matchup all day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, going to now take this time and go through the extra Pittsburgh sports news stories of the day. Sticking with Steelers football here for a second. Just two extra things on this part. One, former Pittsburgh Steeler Najee Harris. We've talked about him quite a bit this offseason, but not for the way that we all expected. Left Pittsburgh, went out to the LA Chargers, and we thought, all right, maybe Najee, out there closer to family, has a sort of, step up in his career. Who knows? But unfortunately, we've been talking about him as an injured player. If you remember, 4th of July, there was an incident. Najee suffering an eye injury, which was, I think at the time, mentioned to be, sort of a, like not as serious as it sounds type of injury, but I don't even think he's opened his right eye since the 4th of July. However, this yesterday from Adam Schefter, Najee Harris ran and participated in drills for the first time in Chargers training camp yesterday. Was also doing some off to the side work with an athletic trainer. Hopefully, that means more good things ahead for Najee. Will say was at times a frustrating player here in Pittsburgh on the field, strictly, on the field. Holes would be there, he wouldn't hit it. Never had any, explosive runs of over 15 yards all that often. Did have, 1,000-yard seasons, but stats aren't everything in that scenario. But off the field, seems like a nice, genuine guy and a good teammate. Hopefully, things keep getting better for him with his eye, and that he can get out there on the field with the Chargers. Last extra news story of the day here related to the Steelers. Happy birthday is in order to my defensive player of training camp, Patrick Queen. He was celebrating his birthday today, also celebrating a fantastic training camp. Now we hope that he can make a trifecta here and have a fantastic regular season as well. While we are on the topic of birthdays here, I do want to switch gears over to hockey just for 1 second, not to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but sort of a national, a nation, worldwide hockey story. Today, we remember Johnny Gaudreau. Would have been his 32nd birthday. As always, R.I.P. Johnny Hockey, gone too soon. Absolute, and excuse my language here, bullshit, the way he passed away. So, yeah, just sucks. Happy heavenly birthday to Johnny Hockey. Wrapping up here today with some Pittsburgh Pirates extra news. 2 extra news stories for them. We talked about earlier O'Neal Cruz heading to the 7-day injured list on concussion protocol. Also, the Pirates, they released an update on some other injured players. The most notable one today, catcher Endy Rodriguez. You feel for the guy. It just seems that he can't stay healthy. He underwent an ulnar nerve transposition surgery by Dr. Neil Elatrosh in Los Angeles yesterday. Dr. Neil Elatrosh, I think he is the elbow expert when it comes to MLB players, does a ton of Tommy John surgeries and procedures of that ilk. Ulnar nerve transposition surgery. I am not going to look up what that is, but from the sound of it, anything when it comes to, nerve issues in the MLB sounds very, very serious. And I hate to, say this, but we could be looking at a situation where Endy Rodriguez could be one of those prospects where you had, at least decently high hopes for, and his career just got wrecked by injuries left and right. Seems like he can't catch a break. And also, swell guy, just looks like, an energy and positive vibe magnet in that clubhouse. Just sucks that he keeps getting nailed with, major injuries like this. Had whatever the position player version of Tommy John surgery was 2 years ago, and now this year, ulnar nerve transposition surgery. Couple of other injury updates as well here. Jared Jones still on the 60-day IL. No new update on him. And Manuel Valdez, who had a dislocated left shoulder. No update on him after getting season-ending surgery. Justin Lawrence, who had right elbow inflammation, hasn't been seen in the big leagues since April. Thought he was going to be at least a pretty nice cog in the bullpen rotation here. Was doing throwing side sessions down at the Pirates Florida complex. His projection is for him to begin throwing live BP by a couple weeks from now in August, maybe a return to the majors before the season ends. And the last one here, left-handed relief pitcher Tim Meza, also throwing side sessions down in the Florida Complex League. He has a similar timetable to return as Justin Lawrence. And ladies and gentlemen, the final extra news story of the day here. The Pittsburgh Pirates, well, not the Pirates, but the Major League Baseball prospect pipeline. They updated their rankings over the past couple of days. Pittsburgh Pirates, their new top 30 now has players that they drafted in this year's draft in there. Seth Hernandez, the first-round pick, in the top 3 of Pirates farm system prospects. Today, the MLB pipeline coming out with their farm system rankings across all teams in the MLB. No shock. Teams who are, high payroll teams, pretty much buyers at every deadline, except for one. They're near the bottom of the league in terms of farm system rankings. The San Diego Padres, Houston Astros, Phillies, Yankees. At the top, though, this disgusts me, and it tells you what the issue is with baseball. The LA Dodgers are the number 1 pipeline in all of baseball. Crazy that they are not only, one of the best teams in baseball, but also they not just, buy out the sport in terms of players on the field, but they also do it with, scouts and stuff like that. And they go out and they get these players that, they then flip at the deadline. So crazy there. Tells you how their farm system is just as good as their major league team. Where the Pittsburgh Pirates fall in on this list, year 6 of the Ben Cherington regime. The Pirates, number 9 in terms of MLB farm systems. Year 6 of the rebuild, and they're barely even a top 10 farm system. And that's, not just because, they got, 1 or 2 top 100 guys. No, they legitimately have some of the best prospects in the sport. Connor Griffin, a number 1 overall prospect in the entire MLB. Bubba Chandler at 7. Seth Hernandez, who was a 6th overall pick at 27. I can go through a couple of other pitchers as well. Hunter Barco, a couple of other prospects who are damn good as well. Just crazy that, the Pirates with those upper echelon prospects in baseball right now are still just a fringe top 10 farm system in the big leagues. But hey, that's pretty accurate for them. Our future is bright, but it's not that bright, and the present is even more dark. So, good job there. Back to the comment section here real quick. Damn shame. Johnny, R.I.P. indeed. Rest in peace, Johnny Hockey. Still one of the more, bothering stories, and not just in hockey, but in all of sports. Very, very unfortunate if you know the details of the story. Not just how he passed, but, what was to come in the, following days and months. Just such a shame. Connor Griffin, Clemson, starting pitcher. Yeah, even with Connor Griffin and even with Bubba Chandler, still just a fringe, very fringe minor league system. Thing is, as we know, will they stay? Nope. Just like Paul Skeens, most likely, they'll come up here, maybe get 3-4 years with the team, and then the Dodgers or the Yankees, the Giants, the Padres, the Phillies, Mets, one of these big market teams, they'll come and knock in and they'll say, hey, how does a quarter or $500 million, somewhere in that range, sound to you? And the Pirates, they will not do it. They keep saying that they will someday, or at least, we'll set the bar low, at least, go out there and sign a free agent to a multi-year deal. They say the right things, but they won't do it. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to wrap it up here for the evening. Want to thank you all for joining me. Had a, decent live stream tonight for a pretty slim pickings day in terms of news. Talked about the OBJ, situation and him possibly being an option for the Steelers. We grieved about the Pirates some more. We grieve for our sake, not for their sake, because they take, happiness and, losing and sucking like this. Those running the organization, they'll suck with a smile as long as they fill their pockets. And I also gave out my 2025 training camp awards. Jalen Ramsey being my training camp most valuable player, Cam Hayward being my training camp least valuable player. So we'll see what happens now coming up tomorrow with the inter squad practice between the Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we'll look ahead come Friday to this weekend's preseason game, which, by the way, we'll announce on here. We'll have some videos and some content coming to you maybe come Sunday this weekend. We'll be in attendance at Acrisure Stadium for Saturday's preseason game. So might take a couple videos there, get those up probably sometime Saturday because I'll be late getting home Saturday, and I will have a in-person, in-stadium perspective of what all goes on coming up Saturday that we will discuss about next Monday. One final time, thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Leave a like, leave a comment, and share this live stream. Also, be sure to check out the channel on the following social media platforms: Insta, X, Facebook, and come back later tonight for a new edition of SCSR60. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. Back here tomorrow with, I'm sure, lots to talk about with the Steelers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice. See you then. Have a good one. Peace.